the country of Qatar, a very wealthy country. They're sitting on a $500 billion sovereign wealth fund. And according to Max Keiser, the high priest of Bitcoin, they may be converting their sovereign wealth fund of $500 billion into Bitcoin. And according to Max, this would give us a $100,000 God candle, sending the Bitcoin price action parabolic to new all-time highs. Here is the latest because he gave us some additional insights and context so you can better understand it. Thank you, Baller Bill. I appreciate you becoming a member of the channel. Welcome to the MicroStrategy. Much love. Baller Bill in the building. Let's go. So here's the latest from Max Keiser. He tweeted this at 11:32 a.m. this morning. Update. To add clarity, my source said, Bitcoin makes our $1/2 trillion sovereign wealth fund effectively worthless. We should just convert it all into Bitcoin. So there you have it. You asked for the clarity. You got it. Now, if you missed the breaking news the other day I've been sharing on the show, here's what Max tweeted. The God candle is a $100,000 uptick in Bitcoin, and it's in play. It will shift the global axis of wealth and power in a single tick. Let's freaking go. He also says, I have one word for you, 100,000 Bitcoin God candle fans, Qatar. The rumors are getting very loud on this. Their sovereign wealth fund rumored and looking to buy a $500 billion of BTC. Now, how do you think that would likely impact the Bitcoin price? Holy moly. And you can see this isn't all just rumors. This is real. Max is working closely with El Salvador and President Bukele. In fact, Max is the genius behind the moves of what they're doing. So Max clearly knows. He has some inside information, and that's what he's trying to tell us. So here's the president of Qatar and the president of El Salvador, Nayib Bukele. That's when they visited, and we're going to get to Caitlin Long's post discussing some of this as well. So let's read all the tweets I could find regarding it. Here's the Caitlin Long post. I caught up with a big Bitcoiner and investor in Bitcoin infrastructure, and he said he doesn't think this rally is all about the spot ETF. He thinks it's about this too, referring to Qatar. I missed this at the time, but looking at it in the morning, it seems there wasn't much coverage at the time. That's right, it went under the radar. The news was back on September 12th. Check it out. This tweet dated September 12th, just in. The Emir of Qatar has landed in El Salvador. What do you think they're going to be talking about? Nation state adoption? Perhaps. 100%. And now that may be coming into fruition now that some time has gone by. Even Stacey Herbert on the 12th wrote back in September, all of Bitcoin Twitter is trying to manifest this into happening. I mean, so you probably never saw this post, right? So again, it went under the radar. Nobody was really talking about it. But now Max is letting us know they have a $500 billion on deck currently in their sovereign wealth fund, and all they're looking to do is convert it into Bitcoin because, as Max said in the tweet, let's go back to it. Check it out. I'm going to read it to you one more time. Update. To add clarity, here's what my source said. Bitcoin makes our $500 billion sovereign wealth fund effectively worthless. We should just convert it all into Bitcoin. So there you have it, my crypto fam. Let's read some more tweets. Keiser recently tweeted, Bitcoin price was lagging behind the rise of the hash rate, while competitors CZ and Binance was being targeted and then taken down at the behest of large Wall Street players. The price rise is now catching up to the implied hash adjusted price of $375,000 per Bitcoin. Send it. So there you have it. He's saying the true price is $375,000 with the current hash rate, which is the difficulty. He also recently shared, someone wrote, why do some Bitcoiners act like spoiled brats about the gold price, with Mad Max being the worst offended? I am up 50% on my junior gold mining stock in 6 months. Wow, 50% in 6 months. Max responds like a boss. I'm up 20 million% since 2011 with my Bitcoin. That means for every dollar Max put into Bitcoin back in 2011, he's up 20 million%, which means 20 million for every dollar. Good Lord, how many billions is the high priest really sitting on worth of Bitcoin? Let me know your thoughts, fam. Now, he also shared it took God 6 days to create heaven and earth. His son, Jesus, was here for 33 years. Bitcoin is approximately 90% done, but it's good enough now to wipe out all the fiat money, the central banks, the ish coins, and legacy nation states. enjoy the ride. That's right. It's going to be one hell of a ride. He also, I guess I shared that tweet a little earlier. Samson Mao has some good tweets about Bitcoin hitting $1 million. I'm going to read this, but first I want to actually tap into this. Is a God candle to $100,000 possible for Bitcoin? Well, let's discuss this, shall we? Here we go. The crypto market seems to be on the verge of finishing the highly successful 2023 with a final sprint here in the fourth quarter. The global crypto market cap recently surpassed 1.65 trillion, which is a new annual high. Bitcoin has been moving amongst the top performers, touching now 44,500, which is probably the highest level we have seen in roughly 20 months. Now, one example is Keiser, the American filmmaker, outspoken proponent of the Bitcoin, you know what I mean? According to him, Bitcoin might experience a so-called God candle that can take its valuation as high as 100,000 per coin. And moreover, Keiser thinks Bitcoin could catch up to the implied hash adjusted price of 375,000 per coin, which I just shared with you in a tweet. Now, what are your thoughts surrounding this God candle actually turning into fruition? And I want to share with you the latest from Samson Mao next. He says, Balaji, who is the former CTO of Coinbase, remember earlier in the year, there was a lot of hype surrounding the regional banking crisis. And Balaji said, Bitcoin's going to $1 million per coin within 90 days. And he did a big wager. I think it was $1 million. Correct me if I'm wrong. Now, clearly he wasn't correct. So here's what Samson Mao had to share in response. Balaji wasn't wrong about Bitcoin going to $1 million per coin, but he was wrong on the timing and the catalyst. My 1 million call is based on a massive rapid influx of institutional capital, while Bitcoin available for sale is at historic lows, compounded by the halving. His 1 mil prediction was predicated on money printing and banks failing. Those two things could potentially be a driver for a rapid run to $1 million, but not likely. The money printing already happened and then dried up. It will take a few more years for the market to adjust accordingly. As for the banks failing, normies will just look for a safer bank. They aren't at the stage where they realize that no bank is really safe and that Bitcoin is the only option. 1 million Bitcoin in play. Let me know if you agree or disagree with Samson Mao. Pomp also shared some very insightful insights, but let me see if there's any tweets I'm missing regarding our breaking story. I want to make sure I cover it all. Here we go. Samson Mao. Let's clear up some Bitcoin terminology. A God candle has long been established to be a $10,000 up on the daily, aka the big green candle, the guy you see right here. Now, 100,000 green candle, not as yet named. I propose the Omega candle. A 1 million green candle, also not yet named. Any ideas? So what are your thoughts? What do you think we should call the 100,000 candle, considering the God candle already has a name of 10,000 according to Samson Mao? And what should we give the name of a $1 million green candle for the King Crypto? Please do let me know. I'm going to read some of the responses out loud in a bit, but let's first read some of the responses from the tweet. Someone said, Megalodon, generational wealth candle, Adam 3S candle, I guess that's Adam Back's username. Metatron candle or Metatron candle, the highest archangel of God. There's some good ones. I like Super Saiyan candle from my Dragon Ball Z fans out there. But what are your thoughts? Please do let me know. And I can share some more insights with you if you want. Obviously, another headline, Qatar Sovereign Wealth Fund dives into Bitcoin with the potential $500 billion investment. But we covered the bulk of this story. So I actually just want to share with you one extra little bonus from Anthony Pompliano. He wrote, Bitcoin miners are dominating the public markets. Check this out. Bitcoin mining continues to be an area worth paying attention to, regardless of what role you play in the market. First, we see the hash rate has been parabolic since the launch of the Bitcoin protocol. Look at that all-time hash rate chart. Good Lord, talk about parabolic, right? The trend is even more pronounced if you zoom in on the time frame from the 2018 bear market today. You can see the hash rate has continued to accelerate even though China banned Bitcoin mining when more than 50% of all mining was in the country's border. Now, the hash rate increases, competition for the block subsidy becomes more intense. What exactly is the financial reward for winning that competition today? There was 40 million paid out in the last 24 hours to miners. That's 14 billion annualized. There's almost no scenario where hash rate is going to stop growing when more than 14 billion in revenue is up for grabs on an annual basis. Another area to pay attention to is miner revenue for transaction fees. Usually transaction fee revenue would spike in the bull market. Tons of people are trying to use the blockchain during the euphoric phase of the market cycle, so you have to pay the higher prices to use the finite amount of block space. Now recently we've seen two major spikes in transaction fee revenue, although we're in the bear market though. There are largely driven these in ordinal inscriptions, but still a significant departure from the past trends, and it has provided additional economic incentive for miners to continue competing for revenue. So exactly how have miners been performing? We can look at publicly traded miners to get a sense of how the industry players are doing this year. Check it out. Year to date, Marathon Digital is up 359%, Iris Energy 356%, CleanSpark 356%, Riot Platforms 349%, Hive Digital 159%, TeraWolf 128%. And check out the Hut 8 Corporation, 1,228%. And they just completed an equal merger. Good Lord, the miners are killing it. This type of financial performance is impressive by itself, but it becomes even more eye-opening when you realize that 5 of the 7 companies listed have more than double the performance of Bitcoin year to date. Another interesting data point is how the miners are handling the Bitcoin on their balance sheet. You can see that miners have been net sellers since the start of November, suggesting these organizations are taking advantage of the recent price appreciation, selling into the strength to drive further cash reserves. Thank you once again, Zero, for the super chat. He says, welcome everybody. Smash that like. Let's go. Now, overall, Bitcoin mining seems to be in a great spot. The hash rate is at all-time high levels. Miners are pulling in 14 billion plus in annualized revenue. The stock price of publicly traded companies is widely outperforming Bitcoin's price performance, and we have not yet experienced the Bitcoin halving slated 4 months away for April 2024. The narrative in the Bitcoin community of buying and exclusively holding Bitcoin sounds good as a talking point, but it is essential that you think critically about what you're trying to accomplish from an investment perspective. It's hard to ignore the benefit of Bitcoin miners based on the market factors and stock performance. The gold community has long debated the pros and cons of holding gold versus buying gold mining stocks. The Bitcoin community is following fast on their heels with a similar debate, but as with most things in life, maybe the truth can be found closer to the middle ground than the extremes. So shout out Pompliano. What are your thoughts surrounding this with the Bitcoin miners? Are you bullish on them? I know BlackRock is. I know many of these major companies are. That's how they indirectly get exposure to Bitcoin. So let me know your thoughts, fam. And surrounding Qatar and their 500 billion sovereign wealth fund and converting it into Bitcoin, do you think this will likely happen? And how will this impact the price? Do you think we can see a God candle? And what are the names of your God candle? Let me know. I appreciate it, fam.